future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Namaste, everyone. Under the visionary guidance of our Honorable Chairperson, Ma'am, Dr. Mrs. Amita Chauhan, we
वही तो ठीक चल रहा था, पता नहीं सर ने क्या कर दिया।
Jyoti, ma'am, may we start the show?
Yes.
All right, ma'am. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Namaste, everyone. Under the visionary guidance of our Honorable Chairperson, Ma'am, Dr. Mrs. Amita Chauhan, we at Amity International School, Sector 46, Gurugram, take immense pride in hosting the 6th edition of Talk with Diplomat, meticulously organized under the auspices of the Amity Educational Resource Center. Light is a symbol of knowledge and understanding. Without light, it becomes impossible to understand the world. Light illuminates our soul and gives meaning to our lives. Let us join together in a spirit of reverence and celebration as we embark on this meaningful journey, seeking inspiration from the light that symbolizes wisdom and auspicious beginnings. I humbly request our esteemed principal, ma'am, and respected and distinguished guests to grace us by illuminating the auspicious lamp. Thank you, ma'am and sir. We now humbly request you to cordially take a seat on the stage. I humbly invite Reverend Aarti Chopra, ma'am, our esteemed principal, to address the gathering and graciously offer a warm welcome to our distinguished guests with the Tulsi sapling.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Chairperson, ma'am, our distinguished guest for today, His Excellency Mr. Yogesh Kumar Gupta, my colleagues present over here in real as well as online on the hybrid mode, Honorable Chairperson, ma'am, who's always with us, Jyoti Arora, ma'am, Director AERC. On behalf of the entire Amity conglomerate, it is a moment of great privilege and honor to express my heartfelt admiration to our most venerated chairperson, ma'am, and founder, sir, for providing us this belvedere, obliging us to bring the spark of curiosity by hosting the 6th edition of Talk with Diplomats. I am immensely delighted and honored to welcome our most admired and illustrious His Excellency Mr. Yogesh Kumar Gupta to Amity International School, Sector 46, Gurugram. I welcome the esteemed advisory board, school principals, and all the delegates present on hybrid mode in today's session by our guest, His Excellency Mr. Yogesh Kumar Gupta. Talk with Diplomats, dear children, is a great initiative of our respected chairperson, ma'am, which is brought to us under the aegis of Amity Educational Resource Center. It is an exciting opportunity to provide it to us to cultivate a culture of harmony and transfer Amity's core values of humility, compassion, empathy, and the universal brotherhood of mankind to Amitians. Embracing the philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, meaning the whole world is one family, our chairperson has taught Amitians the language of love, compassion, courage, and respect, thus nurturing them as responsible citizens of the world. It is her belief that happy parents, happy teachers make a happy child. Happy child makes a happy family. Happy family makes a happy society, and happy society makes a happy country, and at large, a happy world. We all are looking forward to have a wonderful interaction with you, sir, Ambassador Yogesh Gupta ji, and learn from your insights. Thank you so much for joining us.
As a symbol of wisdom, prosperity, and a guiding light of love and compassion, we stand in honor of our esteemed chairperson, ma'am.
You can't hear very clearly. Please speak louder.
As a symbol of wisdom, prosperity,
Very soft. Very soft. Please speak louder. Speak on the podium.
Hello, ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, now it's audible.
As a symbol of wisdom, prosperity, and a guiding light of love and compassion, we stand in honor of our esteemed chairperson, ma'am. Truly a cornerstone and unwavering pillar of support for our institution. We welcome you, ma'am, with the symbolic Tulsi sapling, representing not only her outstanding contributions to this esteemed event, but also the enduring growth and strength she has fostered within our community. Chairperson, ma'am, we express our gratitude towards you for being the driving force behind our success and embodying the values of wisdom, prosperity, and heartfelt compassion.
I just got a call from chairperson, ma'am. There was some technical issue and she's just joining it. Now it has been resolved and she's just joining it.
Definitely.
Please
ma'am.
continue.
As a symbol of wisdom, prosperity, and a guiding light of love and compassion, we stand in honor of our esteemed chairperson, ma'am. Truly a cornerstone and unwavering pillar of support for our institution. We welcome you, ma'am, with the symbolic Tulsi sapling, representing not only her outstanding contributions to this esteemed event, but also the enduring growth and support she has fostered within our community. Chairperson, ma'am, we express our gratitude towards you for being the driving force behind our success and embodying the values of wisdom, prosperity, and heartfelt compassion.
So thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Ma'am has joined. Namaskar, ma'am.
Namaskar, namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank
Ah,
you. So
thank
nice
you.
to see you finally. Thank you. Thank you.
We request our esteemed principal, ma'am.
Please continue, children.
Yes, ma'am. we request our esteemed principal, ma'am, to honor His Excellency Yogesh Gupta ji.
Welcome to Amity. Yogesh ji, welcome to Amity. Hello, Jyoti, what happened?
Namaskar, ma'am. We are felicitating Ambassador
Acha,
Yogesh ji
okay.
with a stole.
Okay,
The
okay.
ma'am is felicitating. Please continue, children.
Mhm.
We are honored to invite Jyoti Arora ma'am, the director of Amity Educational Resource Center at the Amity Group of Schools, who also heads the AERC flagship event, the Amity International Model United Nations, held annually to teach students the art of diplomacy, whose presence graces this event with warmth and significance. We request Principal ma'am to now welcome Jyoti Arora ma'am.
Thank you,
Jyoti
ma'am.
का
Thank
welcome,
you so
तुम्हारा welcome हो गया?
हाँ जी, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We
Acha.
request
Yes, beta. Our chairperson, ma'am, believes in Vasudev Kutumbaka. She is a visionary who thinks beyond just academics, nurturing young minds to become holistic human beings and nurture global citizenship. Her dream is to see Amitians as leaders of their country and the world. About 20 years ago, our respected chairperson, ma'am, built a unique bridge to make this vision a reality and named it the Amity Education Resource Center. AERC is a bridge which invites students to connect with the world and helps them to cross over to view, experience, discuss, analyze, evolve, and build more bridges through its numerous programs like the Nurturing Leadership Program, Amity International Model United Nations, school exchanges, etc. Being a Sanskrit scholar herself, our respected chairperson, ma'am, is well versed with the fact that knowledge is best imparted through real life heroes and through age old tradition of question answers. This gave birth to Talk with Diplomats programs, and she launched it during the pandemic. Today, we are having the sixth edition of the program and the second one in hybrid mode. Earlier, we've had interactions with UN officials, ambassadors, diplomats from various countries like Slovenia, Hungary, and Indian diplomats in the USA, UK, and Belgium. Our students also seek the blessings of the ambassadors by visiting the embassies in New Delhi before they embark their journey to a foreign land. And additionally, our students also visit the Indian embassy and interact with Indian ambassadors. Some of the embassies and high commissions which our students have visited are the London in UK, Vienna in Austria, Bern in Switzerland, St. Petersburg and Moscow in Russia, Copenhagen in Denmark, Stockholm in Sweden, Madrid in Spain, Berlin in Germany, and The Hague in Netherlands. Students also get wonderful opportunities to participate in the Amity Model United Nations and other national and international MUN conferences and experience becoming a diplomat themselves. AIMUN also provides a platform to meet and hear the addresses of UN officials, diplomats, and politicians who are invited as chief guests at the opening and the closing ceremonies. Dear students, many of you are here as future aspirants of IAS and IFS and may study and work abroad. Here is your golden opportunity to know more. Best wishes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your illuminating words. Diplomacy is the velvet glove that cloaks the fist of power. His Excellency Yogesh Gupta ji joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1976 and has since then worked at various Indian missions around the world. He worked at the Indian missions in Brasilia, Islamabad, and PMI New York. He was the Deputy High Commissioner at Lagos, Nigeria, the Deputy Chief of Mission for the Indian Embassy at Rome, Consul General to San Marino, and the High Commissioner to Zambia and Malawi. He has also served at the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, in territorial, multilateral economic, establishment, and coordination divisions. During 1990 to 1993, he was elected by the UN General Assembly as a member of the UN Advisory Committee on Administration and Budgetary Questions, and during 1991 to 1994 as the UN Joint Staff Pension Board. He has served as the director on the Board of Educational Consultants India and has written several articles in newspapers on political, economic, and environmental issues. It is indeed a profound privilege to have you here with us today, sir.
We invite you, sir, to share your insights to the gathering on emerging India.
Sorry, it's not audible. It's not audible, ma'am. Aarti, ma'am, it's not audible.
Hello, is it okay?
Yes, this is okay. Thank you so much.
I'd like to begin by paying my tributes to Mr. Chauhan, the founder of the Amity Group of Institutions, who conceived of these beautiful institutions and started this journey many, many years back. And of course, to Mrs. Chauhan, the chairperson of these schools. And I'm very thankful to Mrs. Chopra for welcoming me, and such a great pleasure to meet so many teachers, brilliant teachers, and young students. You know, it's always a privilege and a pleasure to interact with students, because you represent the new generation, you represent the latest ideas. From you, we get to know the aspirations of the youth. We get to know the aspirations of the youth. So for me, this is indeed a matter of great pleasure to be here today. And I am going to speak for maybe 15 minutes, basically to give you an overview of India. And from where we started, where we are right now, and where we are going. Now, in any assessment of India, you know, we have to start with the history, because we start the slides. Okay. थोड़ा सा can be magnified. Yeah, that's fine. So till 1739, India was a rich country. We represented 25% of the world manufacturing. You know, people these days say that India is weak in manufacturing, that we have not made much progress in manufacturing. That is wrong. We were a manufacturing nation until 1739, and we were a world leader in textiles. Indian textiles used to be exported to parts of Africa, to parts of Europe, and so on, together with other items like spices, ivory, and so on. What happened in 1739 was that this Iranian king, Nadir Shah, he decided to invade India. He had heard that India was a very rich country. And Nadir Shah, together with his huge army, he came to India. And Nadir Shah had a war with the then Mughal emperor, that is Muhammad Shah Rangila. And because Nadir Shah had superior technology, he was able to prevail over the Mughal king. And the Mughal king was, in particular, no great king. I mean, he was more an indulgent type. He was not paying attention to his army, to the administration of the state, and so on. And Nadir Shah was soldiers. They were carrying swivel guns mounted on horses. So these mounted guns could move in all across the battlefield and could fire, on horses. And our army, Muhammad Shah Rangila's army at that time, they were only having arrows, bows and arrows. So, guns versus arrows, the contest was just one side. And this fellow was defeated. Muhammad Shah Rangila, the Mughal king, was defeated. And for 8 days, Nadir Shah looted Delhi. The wealth of India, which had been accumulated for over 200 years, that was taken away by him. Next. इससे पहला स्लाइड थी, ये वाला स्लाइड थी, अच्छा इससे पहले वाला लाइक, हाँ, और one before, yeah, okay. So Nadir Shah, he carried the peacock throne, about which you may have heard, the gold, silver, and precious stones on the back of 700 elephants, 4,000 camels, and 12,000 horses.
Voice is not audible. Yeah, okay now.
I can't hold two. So this looting of India by Nadir Shah gave an idea to the Britishers, who had just started establishing themselves, that India is very prone to foreign attack. And the East India Company, which had already started gaining foothold, then they started making preparations to take over India, to colonize India. And in 1757, that is a couple of years after Nadir Shah, the 18 years, they
Jyoti, voice is not there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm just writing to them, not audible. Control room, can you please check the audio? Can't hear.
All right, please speak on this.
Yes, this is okay.
So, and then we had 90 years of the British rule by the Queen from 1857 to 1947. So this 200 years roughly of the British rule completely emptied India of its wealth. And by the time of our independence, by the time of independence, our people were poor, because most of the wealth had been taken away by either looted by Nadir Shah or taken away by the British. We had a huge population, roughly 340 million at that time. The level of literacy was low, 12%. The food production was just 50 tons. Just imagine 50 tons of food for 340 million. Now, shortage of food is something which it makes you very vulnerable. Then, you get dependent on foreign countries for your existence, when you are short of food, like India was dependent on the United States for importing wheat. Okay, so I continue. So you see, India had become dependent on the EL 480 wheat imports from the United States, and that was a huge vulnerability because if India did not agree to the policies of the United States in those years, then they could simply deny that food, and we became even more vulnerable. So this was something which was really hitting us hard. Then we had a scientist called Professor Swaminathan, M.S. Swaminathan. He died a few weeks back, Professor Swaminathan. So Professor Swaminathan, he was an expert on the breeding of wheat. And he wrote to Professor Norman Borlaug and got the high-yielding varieties of wheat from Mexico and high-yielding varieties of rice from Manila, Philippines. And these dwarf high-yielding varieties, when coupled with fertilizers and water, they were able to revolutionize the yield that we were getting from our local varieties against our local varieties. So suddenly our food production started jumping, started multiplying up. And in a few years of time, India was able to overcome its food dependence on the United States. So that was the Green Revolution, which was the first major success of India in those years. Yeah, next. Now, we choose a mixed economy. Mixed economy means which had both private sector as well as public sector. But it was dominated largely by the public sector. Because at that time, the feeling was that we must have the socialist methods of production. We must be able to share this, distribute it among people of various classes and age stratas. So our economic growth in the initial years, that is 1960 to 1980, it was our can't see some of the. So our economic growth from 1960 to 1980, the 20 years immediately after the first decade, was just about 4%. And then from 1980s onward, we started implementing some economic reforms. We started liberalizing imports. We started reducing the role of licenses, and then suddenly our growth shot up from 4% to about 5.57%. So economic growth and the reforms, contrary to what is believed or what is said in the media or in the books, started in 1980s, not 1990s. They were continued in 1990s. But the difference was that the reforms in the 1980s, those were not systemic. They were not system-wide. They were just individual measures that were taken to liberalize, let's say, imports or to remove licenses. But in 1991, we suddenly had a big problem in regard to our foreign exchange reserves. Since our imports were relatively more and exports were relatively less, we were struck with a foreign exchange crisis. Suddenly, our foreign exchange reserves were reduced to 15 days of imports. And that is when people in the government in New Delhi got panic, and they said that look, we desperately need to have foreign exchange. And then we pledged some couple of tons of gold. Couple of tons of gold was sent aboard an aircraft to London, and from there, then we imported we got some British pounds, to stabilize our foreign exchange situation. So the situation, the reserves had gone so bad. After after a number of reforms in 1991, the economic growth started improving. But still, it took some time because, again, from 1991 to 2000, it was just about 6%, just only marginally higher from the 1980s. But in the next decade, 2001 to 2010, there was a sharp increase in our economic growth. It went up to 6.76%, as you can see on the slides. That decade was particularly fortuitous. India had made good progress in information technology. We had started exporting a lot more. We were very lucky to have cheaper money globally for expanding our manufacturing, for expanding our other production. Easy money was available in those years. The next decade, from 2011 to 2020, again the same trend continued, except that in 2020, which was the COVID year, we had a negative growth rate because of COVID. As you might be familiar, most of the people were confined to homes. The economic activities were sharply reduced. So we had a negative growth of about 6%, as a result of which the total average for the decade went down. But then last 2 years have been brilliant. 2021 and 2022, we have been able to get an average growth of about 8%. And that is a very good sign. Next slide. Okay. Now, we have been able to register a massive increase in exports for our economy. The exports have increased from 370 billion in 2011 to 770 billion last year. And our goal is to increase the exports by 2 trillion, up to the level of 2 trillion by 2030. And there are 3 things which drive the economy. One is the foreign trade, your exports, whether you have net exports, that is, you have higher exports than imports. Then the investments by the private sector, by the government. And the third thing is domestic consumption. Next slide. Export of services, IT particularly, we were very fortunate. These expanded from 171. While Saudi Arabia was exporting crude oil worth 171 billion, our IT exports were more than the Saudi crude oil exports, 191 billion. Next. Export of services. Now, this is another key step that the government has taken. We did not have a good size defense industry. Now, if you have capricious neighbors, which are kind of threatening your territorial integrity, then you need to have a very strong domestic or indigenous defense industry. And to set up a good size defense industry, you also need to export. So we have increased our defense exports from something like $200 million until a few years ago to something like $2 billion. And these are going to rapidly multiply in the coming years. That India has emerged as a major destination for receiving medical tourists. 1.7 billion in 2022, because we have good doctors, good hospitals, our health care is world class, it's relatively cheaper, the facilities are good. So a lot of patients from countries like Gulf, South Asia, countries like Africa, Latin America, they want to come to India to seek medical treatment. Similarly, we are a big exporter of healthcare workers. Next. Now, you must have heard of this term called Amrit Kal. Amrit Kal is the next 25 years from now till about 2047. And this is going to be a period of huge economic growth for India. Why? because we have several positives going in favor of India. We have young population, median age 28.4. Our labor cost is relatively low as compared to, let's say, China. Then the government is laying huge emphasis on expansion of infrastructure. You may have heard that in the last budget, we allocated something like $10 billion for new infrastructure projects, railways, defense, shipping. India is making its own aircraft carriers now, its own ships, its own. We have entered into a tie-up with the Americans to manufacture fighter aircraft. Our credit growth is good, 15%. That is, private sector is taking a lot of credit from the bank. It shows that there is demand. The private sector is growing. Similarly, the government is taking many steps to improve the setting up of new companies, setting up of new industries, easing the procedures for economic activities. The government has floated this scheme called production-linked incentive schemes, under which a large number of sectors have been chosen. And if our companies are able to scale up manufacturing in those sectors like electronics, for instance, semiconductors, then they get incentives from the government for domestic manufacturing as well as exports. The tax rates for new industries have been brought down to 20 to 25% instead of 30 to 35% earlier. These are some of the steps that we have taken to expand growth. The other thing that we are witnessing is the startup revolution. India has become the home for new startups. As of as of last month, we had set up something like 1 lakh startups, and out of which 111 are unicorns, that is companies with a market cap of $1 billion. Okay? Several big foreign brands like Apple, like Banana Republic, Mercedes, BMW, Armani, Dunhill, they have set up their manufacturing in India or assembly lines in India. The CEOs of several major companies abroad, like Microsoft and so on, they are Indians. They are persons of Indian origin in many countries. Next. The space sector has been another area where we have seen huge growth. And this is marked by launch of large number of satellites. We have launched these satellites both for ourselves as well as for other countries. We have set up, we have privatized the manufacturing as well as launch of satellites with the help of some of our public sector giants like ISRO. And number of startups in the space are coming up in the last 2 years. This may open the doors for a rich space economy. Next. Now, people are spending in a big way in India. You know, we have a top strata, which is the rich class, which is spending hugely. Then we have the middle class, which again is buying a lot more. There is a new trend. People don't want to save very much. People want to spend. People want to travel. They want to visit restaurants. They want to visit other countries. So there is a trend to spend, and which is good because consumption is a very important part of our economic growth. And as India grows rich, the expectation is that by the end of 2030, India will become the third biggest economy. This may even happen earlier, by 2028. And that is after United States and China. And then there are hopes that this is what the Prime Minister has said, that by the 2047, he wants to see India as a developed country. Developed country means that your per capita income increases, which is currently something like $2,500, it goes up to something like $15,000. So we are going to see phenomenal growth in the next 20 years. And you all are going to be part of this growth. You are going to see this growth story yourself. Next. Now, before, I don't want to sound negative or ominous, but India also has its challenges. Our biggest challenge is that China has an eye on some of the territories that it believes belongs to them. For instance, the territories in Ladakh, the territories in Arunachal Pradesh. And we are at the moment a little behind China in economics. You know, their economy is far ahead of ours. They are somewhere around 18 trillion. We are around 3.5. Militarily, they are far more advanced. They have the biggest air force, the biggest navy, and so on, a huge military. Then technologically, number of technologies, they are ahead of us. For instance, the semiconductors, the quantum technology, the electronics, the drones. We are short of about 10 squadron of fighter aircraft, drones, autonomous vehicles, hypersonic missiles. The government is making a big effort to scale up our defense industry at present. And we have started, for instance, we have manufactured our own aircraft carrier. The second aircraft carrier is being built at Cochin. Similarly, India is emerging as a big supplier, a big manufacturer and supplier of warships and commercial ships. So these will be built at Cochin or Bombay, Mumbai and other places. So our defense industry is going to see huge growth in the coming years, all across in different domains, whether naval ships, fighter aircraft, military vehicles, drones, and so on. Next. Government has announced new schemes to subsidize setting up of new industries to manufacture semiconductors, microchips. Semiconductors and microchips are the brains in any electronics, in any bigger equipment, whether it is warships or it is fighter aircraft or it is carriers or space activities, whatever you are doing, it's all governed, all the electronics are governed by chips. And we don't have the capability to make our own chips, particularly chips of the smaller sizes. That is below 15 nanometers. So we are trying to scale up that facility. You may have heard about our communication minister, Mr. Ashwani Vaishnaw, often talking how he expects the semiconductor industry to come up in India in the next 2-3 years. To begin with, a number of companies from Taiwan, from the United States, they are setting up shops in India. Apple is shifting its manufacturing of iPhones from China to India gradually. Next. Yes, the other thing that you have to remember, children, is that India has to grow, or India will grow, in a very difficult external environment. The external environment that we are facing today is deteriorating because of the rivalry between the United States and China, rivalry between the United States and Russia. There are a number of middle-sized countries like Iran, which are creating new sets of problems. So we are going to, then we have Pakistan on our western side, we have China, which claims territories on our northern borders, eastern borders. So the international order, which was marked by peace, stability, growth from 1945 till the end of this last century, there was relatively peace, there was relatively stability. But now we have more tensions, we have more rivalries, more conflicts, more competition between the United States and China, as is a result of which the supply chains are fragmenting. more and more countries want to manufacture things in their own countries, like, for instance, the semiconductors. United States wants to do it, Japan wants to do it, Europe wants to do it, India wants to do it. So the supply chains are fragmenting. So India will have to grow in an environment which is marked by a lot of tensions, lot of rivalries, lot of divisions, and a divided global order. Now, it will be extremely important for our youth, for children like you, to play a very important role in this progress that India has to achieve, in this growth that India has to achieve in different sectors, because ultimately youth is the key. Youth and women, they comprise the most important part of our workforce, of our citizenry, and you have to take responsibilities for to ensure that the country gets the growth, the country gets the progress, is able to achieve the progress that it wants to make. Next. And I want to tell you that this phenomenal growth that India is going to see in the next 20 years, this will provide you abundant opportunities for job, for placement, for working, for going abroad, for setting up your own industry. And the kind of growth that has not been seen in India for the last so many years, this is going to be Amrit Kal, as the Prime Minister says, because India is going to see huge opportunities in different fields. And you have to take advantage of these opportunities by working hard, by having vision, by having dreams, by pursuing those dreams. Now, what makes the difference between a normal, an ordinary student and a bright student? I will give you my example. Focus, work hard, focus. Try to do something which no other person is able to do. For instance, when I was in my college, I was in Hansraj College in Delhi, or the university. I used to consult research papers, Scientific American, Nature, in those days as a graduate student, to study and get to know the latest researches. And those used to be part of my answers. And that's why I always was to be able on the top. I was able to be on the top. So, you have to do something different from others. You have to have quality in your work. You have to have original thinking. You have to have innovative way of solving problems. You have to read widely. Other thing is that I have also been part of the UPSC for civil services examination, UPSC panels, and mentoring otherwise also. Our children don't have enough experience of public speaking. I hope that the school will provide opportunities for you to do some public speaking on different subjects, maybe in a group of 10 or 15 or 20, as it is possible in different. This is extremely important, so that you are able to have your confidence. Life is all about confidence. If you have the confidence that you will succeed, you can do it, you will do it. So, and that confidence comes from thinking, from reading, from pursuing your dreams. That is extremely important. Trying to do something innovative, something different from the other person. Why should you get the best marks? You will get the best marks only if you will give the best answer. And that best answer is possible if you will read widely, if you will think differently from others, not what is written in an average book. That is the key to success in life. Okay? I think I have covered most of it, and then the rest of it we can take up in the question. Yeah. Thank you very much. Real pleasure to talk to you.
Yogesh, wonderful, wonderful. Great.
Can I shift there, please? I can't stand for too long.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for those truly inspirational words. Now, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to our honorable and beloved chairperson, ma'am, Dr. Mrs. Amita Chauhan, a guiding light of excellence and compassion, without whom this event would not have been possible. Ma'am, you are the epitome of strength and inspiration for all of us. We feel honored to welcome you, ma'am, to address this August gathering?
I think so. Jyoti,
Yes, ma'am.
the children should ask question answers. No, the children hear me so often.
Ma'am,
कहते
but
हैं कि go. I'll speak when after Yogeji's question answer session is over because they always hear me. है ना, और हमारे व्यूज और योगेश जी के व्यूज काफी मिलते जुलते हैं
बहुत ज्यादा,
आफ्टर
बहुत.
हाँ तो आफ्टर हियरिंग हिम. पर योगेश जी और मुझ में एक बात कॉमन है. योगेश जी डिड MSc in 1972. I did my MA in 1972.
Oh.
that is one thing common in us, no?
जी,
And
जी,
the most important thing, Yogi ji, you are the husband of my principal, Mrs. Aarti Gupta.
Yes.
If she's so good, I think so you will be double good.
True, ma'am.
I don't want
Absolutely.
to take, Jyoti, I don't want to take the time. कहते हैं children must be having so many questions. I know about my children. They must be so inquisitive to ask him because it was आपका जो था, the lecture was so good. From 1739 to 2023. How India, what happened to our India, our beloved India, and how are we growing? तो है ना, कहते हैं our children can make. मैं तो हमेशा बोलती हूँ, when India will be in 100 years, our Amitians will be there to make it a developed country. That is I'm so confident about my children. I know the quality of my children. They are hardworking, very, very hardworking. They know to work hard, hard. They love their country. They want their country to see a developed country because we have ingrained, Yogeji, we have ingrained in them from the very early years to see our country a developed country. So without hard work, it cannot happen. You rightly said they should read a lot. So कहते हैं, we emphasize on reading and कहते हैं communication skills. You said we have got MUN from class 5 onwards. So they do a lot of public speaking, debating. So we are doing कहते हैं this, but I was happy to hear that we are on the right direction. We think the same. कहते हैं reading, public speaking, confidence, have faith in yourself, big dreams. That is Amity's USP. I say that is Amity. And कहते हैं, like we are very much into innovation. Recently we had hackathon in Push Vihar, Atal Tinkering Lab competition in Mayur Vihar. Tomorrow on the second, we are having again a science competition. 7th again we are having a science competition. So we are very much into innovation. So Aarti must be telling you, sir, about our innovations. So we have done 70 to 80 patents. And my science coordinator was saying, ma'am, within a year our children will be doing 100 patents. So they are very creative. They are very innovative. So I want to thank you. आपका तो what you अमृत काल का जो आपने टॉपिक लिया, that was great.
Beautiful.
आपका इसका रिकॉर्डिंग होगा तो we will, कहते हैं ज्योति, we make it
Yes.
we will talk to our principals कि the children should hear this.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
How we कहते कितने we became so poor again. We will be the richest country of the world.
Absolutely.
And rich countries can be only dictate the world. And we will be one of them.
Absolutely.
One of them. I'm very confident of only rich. My dear children, to be rich, it is very important. But richness के साथ we should have the values. है ना, like हमारे संस्कृत श्लोक में है ना, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुर्भाग् भवेत्. We want to see the whole world, everyone happy. ये नहीं कि we should be happy, दूसरा कुछ भी हो. No, Indian values are everyone should be happy. है ना, if you respect, if you care, if you are compassionate, you think for others, then it's a happy world. हाँ, और एक अपना बहुत अच्छा श्लोक है, आप लोग हवन में भी करते होंगे, देव शांति अंतरिक्षम शांति पृथ्वी शांति आपा शांति औषधया. ये सब बोलते हैं आप लोग हवन में कि सब जगह शांति होनी चाहिए. वाटर, स्काई, सी, अपना एनवायरमेंट, everybody should be in peace. इसका मतलब क्या है कि we have to take care of each other. We have to take care of our environment. People are talking about climate change. ना कहते बहुत बातें कर रहे हैं. हमारे लोगों ने तो ऋषियों ने तो 8,000 years पहले ही बता दिया था how to lead a happy life. We are the people of this country who speak about happiness, who speak about peace, who speak about hard work, who speak about compassion. योगी जी मैं ज्यादा समय नहीं लेना चाहती, बस मैं इसी के साथ I want to thank you so much for coming and gracing this occasion and talking to our children. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Your words of wisdom really mean a lot, and thank you, ma'am.
Jyoti, I'm very really I want to grateful to नहीं कहूँगी. I appreciate you for organizing this program. क्योंकि to organize a program it takes lot of efforts. My dear children, to organize a program it takes lot of efforts, and Jyoti has 1.5 person in her AERC. With this, with the support of everyone, she has worked, she has organized this program. Jyoti, very good.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Jyoti, just can inform Yogeji from how many schools from there. It's a hybrid program.
Yes, ma'am.
Children from Gwalior, Raipur,
Yes, Navi Mumbai, Lucknow, and all the Amity schools in Delhi NCR, UP, Gurugram, all have joined, including Amitasha.
Amitasha के बारे में बताइए ना, what is Amitasha?
जी जी. Sir, Amitasha is a special dream school of a respected chairperson, ma'am, where she provides education to the less privileged groups. So there are girls, about 1,000 girls, who are provided not only free education, but free books, meals, uniform, and all the opportunities which the other Amity international schools have. So
And
this is a dream.
I want to add one thing. 5 girls, they want to become a doctor.
Oh,
Okay, they want to become a doctor, and they are getting a special coaching. We have got a coaching institute, Amity Institute for Competitive Examination. We are preparing them. We are preparing them for medical exams.
Wonderful,
that
wonderful,
is a
ma'am.
great opportunity for them. No?
So many projects are going on parallelly just to give the opportunities to Amitians to become world citizens. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us this platform so that we could listen to these words of wisdom.
Ex-ambassador means कहते हैं widely experienced person.
Absolutely.
Widely experienced person who has seen the world.
Absolutely.
So my dear children, he is in front of you. कहते हैं not only in foreign services, he has guided in कहते हैं in defense service also. No, कहते हैं.
Yes,
he has mentored National Defense College also. So you will be happy to know our founder has started BSc and MSc in defense technology.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So much Amity is doing, ma'am. It's infinite. It's infinite, really infinite. So with your permission, ma'am, can we start the question answers?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, thank you. So we start with Amitasha. So student of Amitasha, can you please ask your question? We have Shraddha Pandey joining us from Amitasha. Shraddha, your question to Ambassador, please. Shraddha, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please ask your question. Your face is not visible. Can you just bend a little more so that Ambassador can see your face? Can you bend a little? Yes, now you can ask your question, Shraddha.
Good afternoon, Excellency. My question to you, what was the first challenge that you faced when you joined the Indian Foreign Service?
Can we take more than one question, 2 or 3 questions at a time? Okay, all right. Well, you see, the biggest challenge is that
it is audible.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, sir.
Yeah, okay. You see, the biggest challenge is that when I joined Foreign Service in 1976, that this used to be the top service in the country, the topmost service in the country. The toppers used to join Foreign Service in those days. And most of my batchmates in the Foreign Service, their fathers were either ICS old Indian civil service, or they were top bureaucrats. And most of them came from highly accomplished background, St. Stephen's College, from where my wife graduated, and other prestigious institutions. I started from a very average, very minor government school. Very, very minor. That was the lowest level government school in my area, because that is what we could afford in those days. So, you were suddenly confronted with other colleagues who had come from much richer and much different and much stronger backgrounds. So, you had to compete against those. So, you had to be best in everything. I mean, not only that you get into foreign service or IAS or any other service, but even after joining the service, you have to continue to work hard and rise to the top. So, work hard is a continuous exercise, till the end. There is no break or there is no stop in that. That was
Absolutely
the
right.
biggest challenge.
Thank you so much. That's why Founder President has given us the Bhag mantra. Bhag, behavioral science, it's hard work, ambition, attitude, and God. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. This time we have introduced a new session, a new type of question. We are involving the family members. As our chairperson ma'am said, that she's very proud of her principal, Mrs. Aarti Gupta. So we are going to ask one question to your wife, sir, with
Yeah,
your
yeah,
permission.
please.
Welcome, Aarti Gupta ma'am. Aarti Gupta ma'am students has taught in 8 different countries and is currently the principal of Amity Global School, Gurgaon, Sector 46, where she is teaching for the last 10 years. Ma'am, we want to know if you can share an international crisis situation where you saw Ambassador Yogesh Gupta ji managing it wonderfully and gracefully as an Indian diplomat. And what did you learn from that issue? Ma'am, please mute it.
Good morning, Chairperson ma'am. Good morning, all my colleagues, and I'm delighted to be here. Now, the question Jyoti has asked is the crisis situations. So, dear students, when a diplomat is representing his country abroad to manage the crisis of its citizens who are living in that country is one of their first priorities. In July 1984, an Indian Airlines flight was hijacked. We were posted to Islamabad, Pakistan, and this flight was going from Jammu to Delhi. And 10 hijackers make it land in Lahore. And on board were 254 passengers and 10 crew members. And most of these passengers were Indian passengers. So the task of getting these Indian passengers safe was on the Indian Embassy, was on the Government of India. So a team came from Delhi, from Ministry of External Affairs, Home Affairs, and my husband, who was a young officer, his title was First Secretary Political. He was to liaison with that team. And the objective was to get these 254 passengers released, the safety of these 254 passengers. Also, the hijackers were asking for a huge ransom of US $25 million. So that was the second objective, Jaan or Mal ki safety. So it was a very intense time. It was a very difficult time because, you are liaising with the government of Pakistan, with your ambassador, with the team that had come from India. And I could not ask him anything. So I think these negotiations, they went on for over 2.5 days. And what I saw in him was that the objective was very clear in his mind. As he had said, he was focused. The first focus was that these 250 passengers had to be released unharmed. The second focus was that India does not pay the ransom. So calmly, I noticed calmly, quietly, working diligently, listening to instructions, using the wisdom, we succeeded in Government of India succeeded, and he was, a critical member of that team, and these passengers were released, all of them unharmed, and we didn't have to pay the ransom. So that's one of the things that I recall.
Amazing. My God, what an experience. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing this. It was really wonderful to hear.
Children, you should, have you heard? He was so calm, diligent, focused, hardworking. So these qualities we should learn from the successful people.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Very
Absolutely.
good, very good. Aarti,
Thank-
very sad, no? We are feeling so proud of Yogesh.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think he deserves a very good hand. All of you, please give him a very good hand. We are so proud of him. And now we have the wonderful opportunity to meet Ambassador's daughter, Radhika Gupta. She could not be online, but we asked her a question as she sent. Very, very grateful to her. She has sent a video.
Jyoti, she herself is a very successful girl, no?
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely.
Aarti, can you introduce your daughter?
All right, my daughter is 40 years old this year. She did the IB program and she had 45 on 45 on IB.
Wow.
And she went to the Wharton Business School, to the program where our C6er has gone, Jerome Fisher Program in Management and Technology, on a full scholarship. Because as chairperson says, it's a very expensive studying in American universities. And as the salary of a government official, we could not afford it. But khud hi ko kar buland itna, her grades, her essays, her writing, her extracurriculars, they all backed her. There's full scholarship at Wharton College, after which she worked on Wall Street for 4 years. But I think the spirit of nationalism was ingrained in her from the time of birth. And she, along with two partners from America, they came back to India 14 years ago and started the first hedge fund in India. And then they sold it. It was a startup. They sold it to Edelweiss. And at the age of 33, she became one of the youngest CEOs. And today she is the MD and CEO of Edelweiss Mutual Fund. She has also won many awards, most powerful women, 30 under 30, 40 under 40. She is representing India on the World Economic Forum. She has authored a book called Limitless. And now she will be on season 3 of Shark Tank as a shark. So that's a brief introduction, ma'am, with your blessings. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We are really
Children should know about her.
very, very proud of Radhika's ma'am's journey. And both the parents have definitely played a very major role. And here is her video she wants to share with all.
I can say so much about the influence that my dad and his career have had on me, the whole family, and my career and how I thought. But, if 3 things came to mind. One is, I think, when I see my father, he's taught me the value of hard work. At more than 70, he's still the hardest working person in the family. And he's always had this belief that you are more than your circumstances, that each generation should take a leap. So this whole attitude of just working hard and not giving up and being resilient, I think is something that he embodies. The second is, and I think his career has been a gift, is about adaptability and moving on. We saw our parents changing countries every 3 years, and they were great places like Rome and New York, but they were also much tougher places, like Nigeria or Pakistan. But when you ask him to recall some of his best memories, they are in the toughest countries. And he's always said, move forward, look forward. It's not about what has happened, it's about what is to come. And we talk about adaptability quotient so much in the workplace, but I was fortunate to see him living it as a child. And I think the third one is, which is so important in leadership, is an inherent sense of optimism. I think there's a family joke that my father is an eternal optimist, and leadership is finally about optimism. We were all worried about how dad would handle retirement, and there's so many myths about it after sort of the glittering career that he's had. But in his head, he's the busiest person after retirement. He's living and loving his retirement, and he says, my fourth innings, my fourth 25-year period or whatever it is going to be the best one. So he's always been an eternal optimist about his circumstances, and in today's world, that's a very positive skill to have. So these are just a few nuggets.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Radhika ma'am, for this. We are missing you live here, but nevertheless, this video is very motivating. And daughters are always precious, Okay. Now, I would like to ask Samara Chauhan from Amity International School, Push Vihar, with your question. Over to you, Samara. Can you unmute yourself, please? Amity Push Vihar?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Samara. Go on.
Good afternoon, His Excellency. My question to you is that being a former ambassador of Denmark and having worked in various Indian missions all around the globe, what thoughts does Denmark, positive or negative, have about India?
Okay. Well, you see, the perceptions of foreign countries about India have changed with the times. When I started, for instance, in 1976, at that time, India was relatively poor. And the perception was that, India, land of snake charmers, poor people, struggling, don't have adequate means. Then after we had this IT revolution, information technology revolution in 1990s and later years, those perceptions started changing that, okay, India also has some good scientists, India also has some good IT specialists and so on. Then we had our nuclear test that added to our capabilities, nuclear capabilities. We started witnessing rapid growth. And now, of course, India is being looked upon by everyone, even the United States of America, the biggest, the most wealthiest country, the only superpower. It wants to have friendship of India because it thinks that not only India provides some sort of an answer to a rising China, aggressive or a threatening China, but India is a huge market. Indian economy is going to be driving the global growth. India has got huge number of scientists, labor force, young people, capable people. So a lot of foreign companies are coming here. They want to set up shops. Now 99% of the iPhones, Apple iPhones that we are using, they are made in India. So perception of India has changed over the years, and now everybody, we had a wonderful, a successful G20 summit. This kind of a summit where India was able to achieve consensus on some of the most difficult issues like the Ukraine war or the issue of climate change. This was not easy because there are conflicting views between different countries. But we were able to enlist this cooperation of not only developing, but even the developed countries. President Biden ensured that the summit, he helped us in ensuring that the summit was a success and we were able to achieve its objectives. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There's another question related to Denmark from Amity Global School, Noida. Misha Patania, can you please ask your question?
Good afternoon, Excellency. My question to you is, since Denmark is considered as the top 5 happiest countries in the world, what are the 3 changes your lifestyle has undergone following your tenure as the ambassador of India to Denmark?
3 changes that your lifestyle has undergone following your tenure as the ambassador?
Well, Denmark has made phenomenal progress in new technologies, particularly the green technologies for climate change to ensure sustainable development. They are extremely good in electronics. They are extremely good in preserving your environment. They are a rich country. Denmark only compared itself with Germany, with no other country. Denmark's currency was pegged to, the German currency in that time. So they are always, in terms of per capita number of people per population, Denmark is the highest Nobel Prize achievers. So going to Denmark was a sea change in my outlook as to how some of these countries in Europe were able to resolve some of the issues challenging them. It's a small country of 5 million people. but again very rich because they are able to master some of the latest technologies in climate change or in carbon capture or in electronics, production of enzymes, production of medicines, and so on. So that is where I focused, and we were able to promote a lot of cooperation between India and Denmark, and that is continuing even now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now over to you, Shivanjali Sapra from Amity International School, Saket.
Thank you, ma'am. Greetings, Excellency. It's an honor to interact with you today. My question to you is, you have been a student of botany. You even taught the subject. Then how did this love for life sciences gravitate towards foreign services?
Well, I was always very interested. Biology was my favorite subject in the school. And as I graduated and did my master's, I chose botany. I always loved that subject. You can pick up any subject. The subject doesn't matter. You can be in administration, you can be in law, you can be in economics, you can be political science. But you have to be on the top. You can choose any subject. The subject doesn't matter so much. It can be zoology, it can be chemistry, but be on the top. That is what matters. I was able to obtain the highest marks in the entire UPSC in botany. In those days, distinctions, both in higher botany and lower botany. And that is what made me got one of the top ranks in the IAS exam.
Very true. Very true.
Thank you, sir.
Now I would like to request Samaya Chauhan from Amity International School, Pushvihar, with your question. Ambassador sir, Samaya is one of our future aspirant of joining the UN. Over to you, Samaya.
Thank you so much, ma'am. A very good afternoon, Your Excellency. Thank you so much for that extremely enlightening session. My question is, sir, could you please share some notable experiences from your extensive diplomatic career that have helped foster a love for international relations and understanding UN and understanding in you further?
Sides and which will help you to foster international cooperation and understanding, particularly in the realms of education and environment.
Okay. Now, you see, the biggest insight that I can give you is that when you are in the field of diplomacy, you are dealing with issues which are seen differently by different countries. For instance, the issue of climate change. Now, the rich countries like the US, which have already achieved considerable economic development, they think that the other countries should agree to their request or to their proposal for a cut in the carbon that they release. But for countries like India, which are developing countries, we still have a long way to go. We can't suddenly stop using coal. You see, United States may not be using much coal today, but we can't, at the cost of going to green technology suddenly, if we suddenly decide that we will only use the green technology, those costs are very high. So there are different perceptions of different countries on a given issue. And the job of a diplomat is to understand those differing perceptions and try to find a middle ground or a position which takes care of his country's interest but is also acceptable to the other countries. So those are the key challenges that we have to keep in focus when we are negotiating with other countries, whether it is climate change or it is education or other fields.
Very wonderfully expressed. Thank you, Ambassador. And now I would like to invite Kanha Shukla from Amity International School, Virajkhand, Lucknow. Kanha, your question, please.
Good afternoon, Excellency. I am Kanha Shukla, a student of class 12 from Amity International School, Virajkhand, Lucknow. And my question to you is, you joined Indian Foreign Services in 1976, right after the Indian emergency, which was imposed in 1975. What was one major impact of Indian emergency on foreign diplomats?
You know, and the emergency was viewed differently in different parts of the world. In the Western world, where there is a lot more sensitiveness about human rights, uh, there was a lot of criticism of India. Whereas in countries like Russia, for instance, it didn't matter very much because those countries don't interfere in the or don't bother about the internal affairs of other countries. Similarly, in developing countries also where similar or such problems had existed earlier, the criticism was relatively sparse and muted. So my job at that time I was posted to Brazil. My job was to basically explain to the government over there and to the various institutions, organizations which matter to us as to what were the reasons, the circumstances for imposing the emergency and how it had helped or benefited the country and what we were trying to do and to assure that it was a short-lived exercise and the democratic rights would be restored very soon and so on. That sort of a persuasion, that sort of under explaining the position of your country, that is what we were trying to do.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now I would like to invite Kirthana Samuel from Amity International School, Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. Over to you, Kirthana.
You, ma'am. Good afternoon, Excellency. My name is Kirthana Samuel, and I am a student from Amity International School, Gwalior. So, we would like to tell you at the Amity Group of Schools, we do conduct quite a few Model United Nations. And it would be an honor for us if you were able to join any of our upcoming AIMUNs. So, sir, my question to you is how do you think that events like the Model United Nations enhance our diplomacy skills?
How do these MUNs, which we do, enhance our diplomacy skills that the schools conduct? MUNs, Model United Nations.
Look, frankly, I have not participated in the MUN because I am busy in so many other things. But I have worked at the UN itself for 5 years. You know, in different parts of the UN system, both in different committees of the UN, as an expert on behalf of India, and I've been witness to the negotiations on so many different issues at the UN. It is a thrilling experience. It's a very important experience. You see, some people say that the UN is useless, that the UN can be just cast aside or put aside. It doesn't resolve problems. You see, UN is as strong as its members are. UN is as united as its members are. If there are sharp differences among its members, then UN can't have a united stance because the UN ultimately constitutes its membership. So, but there are a lot of things still. You see, if there are problems, even between the superpowers, even between the major powers, the only place where they can come together and have some sort of a discussion, whether they agree or not agree, that's another matter. But at least that is one venue where they can come together and discuss a subject. You have seen how many meetings have taken place on Ukraine issue, or are now taking place on the issue of Israel-Hamas conflict. So UN provides very important experience in the field of economic development, in the field of climate change. It is able to help you in getting the best possible experiences of different countries, and help you in sharing those sorts of skills. So I would say that the UN does play a very important role, and the effectiveness of the UN, of course, has weakened a bit because of rivalry between the major power among the major powers.
Right. So we are going to have the 17th edition of our AIMUN conference, international conference, in the month of October 2024. And with the permission of Chairperson Ma'am, we would really want that you should be part of it. So that you also have an experience of an MUN conference.
Correct.
See, ma'am has also given approval, so we will really look forward.
Well, I'll try.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now, Amity Global School, Gurgaon, Gauri Sharma has a question for you, Excellency. Over to you, Gauri.
Namaste and good afternoon, sir. I am Gauri Sharma, a student of grade 11 from Amity Global School, Gurugram. My question to you is, what are the most pressing global issues that diplomats need to deal with in the coming years?
Well, right now, the most important issue for us, if you were to ask me 3, 4 issues, first China. China is a big problem, big threat for us. And it's a big threat because China is laying claims to our territories. And frankly, economically, militarily, technologically, we are behind China. You see, we did not even have a proper infrastructure in our bordering areas. We had neglected that for so long. And China has certainly become aggressive. China's president says that one of their key objectives is national rejuvenation. And that involves capturing all the disputed territories on which they lay claim. They say that the full China or the modern China will not be complete unless all its disputed territories are taken away or combined with China. That is one major challenge. The second major challenge is, of course, of economic growth, of technological growth. How do we get the new technologies, the emerging technologies? We are way behind in semiconductors and microchips, which are the key components for any war-fighting equipment or war-fighting systems. We are far behind in space technologies. You see, we have reached a time when countries are going to make use of the space to attack your assets on the ground, whether it is your missile silos, or it is your air bases, or it is your naval assets, your warships, carrier on the ocean. Space is going to play a very important role. The hypersonic missiles, which some of these countries have developed, like China, for instance, they are able to cruise at a speed 5 times that of sound, and you can't predict their orbit. So, to get potent answers to some of these challenges, we need new technologies. And Prime Minister is very alive to this whole issue that India has to move ahead fast, move ahead rapidly in acquiring new technologies, and a whole lot of efforts are being made. Private sector is being encouraged to be part of this national effort in getting various technologies in new weapon systems, all the Tatas and Bharat Forge and the Reliance and all the major Indian private sector companies are getting involved in setting up our defense manufacturing. These are the challenges, Then, of course, the other problems, climate change and the problems of pandemic diseases. COVID was a big issue. These are, of course, recurring issues. But one biggest issue is China.
Okay, sir. Okay. And now, Amity International School 46 have prepared some rapid fire questions for you, Ambassador, where you can answer them in just one word or one answer. So over to you, Disha Dheer, for your rapid fire question.
Excellency, remembering your school days, what was the hardest subject for you? And please tell us the name of your favorite teacher.
Mathematics and Mr. R.K. Garg.
On the spot, you could answer it so fast.
That I remember very clearly.
Wonderful.
Not that I was poor in mathematics, but you see, mathematics require consistent study and hard work. So somewhere I think I got digressed in the school.
Greetings, Your Excellency. Taking you back from your school days to the office, if diplomacy has a mascot, then what would it be?
I would say Lord Krishna. I think the kind of example that Lord Krishna provides in the field of diplomacy, see, he was able to always analyze the situation and tell the Pandavas and Kauravas that, look, try to avoid the war. try to agree and give them at least those 5 villages that he said that, look, even if you give them 5 villages, the Pandavas will be happy to stay there and try to avoid the war, because a war is going to be devastating, and ultimately it doesn't resolve the problems the way you want it, often. So similarly, in the field of when the war started, he was able to use various strategies, to defeat or to counter or kill different opponents. He was able to persuade Arjun on the battlefield as to what was the importance of that Mahabharat war, and why it was important for him to fight, and what were the options, and if he did not, and so on. So that's sort of an example of someone who is so resilient, someone who is able to study various pros and cons of a problem, is able to arrive at workable solutions. That is something we can learn from the role of Lord Krishna in Mahabharata.
So, in other words, he was one of the best ambassadors in our olden history, Indian culture.
Excellency, we got to know that you love playing golf and bridge. So, are there any musical instruments that you like playing as well? Or would you love to play them?
Well, I love to hear the Indian music. In my days, we didn't have the means, we didn't have those types of facilities in the school to learn the musical instruments. But I like my children to have those facilities and to have those possibilities. But yes, I love music. I'm very fond of music.
Thank you. That was Meghna Quatra asking you the question, and the mascot question was by Atregar. And now we have Aryan Arora with his rapid fire question.
Greetings, Excellency. Your life is undoubtedly filled with intriguing experiences. We would love to know who, in the fast pace of your life with ups and downs, was the person who motivated you the most.
My personal life? My wife, of course.
And how did she influence you, sir?
That was the question. Who motivated you the most?
Well, besides the wife, I would say my father also had a very important influence on me. And I remember when I was doing my BSc second year, I hadn't done all that well in the first. So he asked me what sort of results you have. So I was trying to sidestep the question. He said, look, this is the best education that I'm able to give to you. And now you have to sort of find your own way. There is nothing else that I can do for you. And that conversation between me and my father had some sort of a magical effect. It suddenly sort of struck me that where I am, what is my future, what I'm going to do. And that is what I want all of you to ask this question to yourself. Where are you? What is your future? Where are you going from here? And from next day onwards, children, I only had one aim, one objective, like Arjun, the eye of the fish. I was a changed person. So my father, then some teachers in the college, they said that, look, if you want to get extraordinary marks, then you have to make extraordinary efforts. Why should you get this privilege of the highest marks? So go out, read the research papers, read the latest books on the subject, see what is happening. Go to your library, go to the Delhi University Library. Some why teachers also had a great impact. That is what, you have to focus, that where you are going, how you have to go, and have big ambition, big dream, and confidence that you can do it.
Perfect. Perfect. We just have time for 3 more questions, and then we'll have time to close this session. So quickly, I will ask Amity International School Vasundhara 1, Tejas Agarwal, to ask your question, please.
Good afternoon, Excellency. It's really an honor to interact with you. My question for you is, what is your greatest strength?
Greatest strength.
What is my greatest strength? Confidence.
Oh, wonderful.
Tremendous self-confidence. No task is big for me. I can do anything. If I make up my mind that, I have to do it, I have to write this article, I have to do this work, I have to achieve this objective, I have to excel in this field, I'll do it. I'll find the way to do it. No
Wonderful.
task. Tremendous self-confidence, positivity, that any objective can be achieved with hard work and perseverance. So self-confidence, I think, is the key, accompanied, of course, by a clear vision, hard work, pursuit of, your object. Yeah.
Your self-confidence is also inspiring all the students. Even they are feeling very confident, I'm sure. Okay, then we have Amity International School, Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, Nilansh Kumar. Nilansh, over to you.
Good afternoon, Excellency. My question to you is, as we know that many companies like the SBI were benefited under your guidance, what is your suggestion for the future of our institute incorporating the new trends of the education system?
About the new industry.
Yeah, it's about the future of our institute, incorporating the new education system trends.
Okay.
The way SBI benefited with your institute.
I think frankly, I am not fully familiar with what all courses, what all subjects you have been doing. The chairperson, ma'am, she gave some idea, and others have also suggested something. But I think we are going to have a very new world of opportunities, of different, whether it is computers or it is robotics or it is quantum technology or it is semiconductors, microchips, it's telecom, it's startups. So, you have to see how you can focus on some of these areas. The finances markets, this is going to play a very important role. The new industries in different areas, of different capacities, how you can prepare children to set up their own units, because ultimately you will have to find your own employment. Government is not in a position to offer jobs to many now, because the role of government is shrinking. So the industry has to come in. Manufacturing will have to play a role. Many of you should be encouraged to set up your own units. The whole lot of loans are available from the banks.
So I want to hear, yes, chairperson, I want to, children, you must be knowing we have courses in semiconductor, we have courses in quantum computers, AI, and there is one more course we have started. We have started actually 4 courses for the school children, Yogeshi, that they want to inform the children what is happening in this new world. So from the very beginning, we have the courses for 20 hours. I think so the children must be knowing about it or not.
To know from you, it will make a lot of difference.
The
Because
course
when you
in
tell us,
semiconductor children, we have the Children's Science Foundation head, Mr. Lalit. He can speak. Principals, you can speak to him. We have started the courses in semiconductor for 20 hours. Quantum computers also we have the course. We have the course in AI. And we have the course in one more, agriculture technology. I don't remember that. In agriculture technology, I think so. We have introduced this. So you ask your school and apply for it.
thank you so much, ma'am, for informing this. This is very, very important for the future.
One of our child from Noida school, when he was in class 10th, he was working for chips. Semiconductor chips he was working for. And he was saying, I asked him, how are you doing? So he said, when he was in Malaysia, he went for the exhibition. There was a Chinese company who came to him and they always gave him some work on the chips to do. I don't know exactly what he was saying about this. He learned he met a Chinese manufacturing company, and they were always in contact with him. So he was working in the school also on the semiconductor chips. So children, this is, if you want to do anything, you can do anything. As sir is saying, ki sir has the confidence to do anything. And like my Amitians can do anything in this world. Nothing is impossible for the Amitians. If you have the will, if you have the desire to do it. हाँ, खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से पूछे तेरी रजा क्या है, भाई तू क्या करना चाहता है? हैं तो हमारी रजा यही है कि हम इंडिया को डेवलप कंट्री बनाएंगे. व्हेन यू विल बी अराउंड 2030 तो तुम लोग देश को आजाद बना सकते, देश को डेवलप कंट्री बना सकते हो. द होल द वर्ल्ड सी इंडिया and it becomes a jagat guru. They learn from us. We have so much to give to the world. My dear children, we have so much to give to this world. Only desire, a vision, a mission, and a focus.
Absolutely. And amity will be in the forefront.
Yes. हमारा founder का vision यही है. And we follow our founder's vision and mission.
Absolutely.
Okay, जी, आपका भी vision और mission हमारी तरह का है, amity जैसा ही.
जी. जी, बिल्कुल in tune. Absolutely in tune. Now there is quickly Ishani Chaudhary from Amity International School, Noida. Your question, please. Ishani from Noida.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes.
A very good afternoon to one and all present.
Ishani, we can't see your face better. Yeah, now it's okay.
It's okay, Ishani.
Yes.
Your Excellency, it is a true honor to be able to interact with you today. Having mentored numerous civil services examination candidates, what, in your expert opinion, is that one desirable trait that is desired in UPSC candidates to excel in this challenging exam?
How can student excel in the examinations?
Gone through your
Civil service examinations, sir.
She wants to know that what is in your opinion, is a single defining trait in a UPSC aspirant that enables them to excel in this challenging exam?
Hard work.
Hard work.
Hard work. You have to work hard. When you prepare for the civil services, you have to pursue it with a single-minded devotion. Try to put in 14, 15 hours of work every day. Try to study all your staples. Leave out nothing to chance. And try to practice, try to think of the latest work, latest researches, latest developments taking place in that. Try to think in a cross-sectoral manner. What are the different aspects of a particular issue across different domains? That sort of in-depth reading. Try to be innovative. Say something new, different from others. That is what will fetch you marks.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yash Wadhwa from Amity Pushvihar.
Greetings.
Yes, sir.
Greetings, Your Excellency. Being part of the Global Times, an in-house newspaper that is for the students, of the students, and by the students, I was intrigued by your background in penning articles on social, economic, and environmental issues. So my question to you is, how do you see the intersection between public discourse and diplomacy?
It's a question that Pushvihar child is asking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just read the question, ma'am.
Yeah, I just changed. Yeah.
Being part of the Global Times, an in-house newspaper of Amity that is for the students, by the students, and of the students, I was intrigued by your background in penning articles on political, economic, and environmental issues. How do you see the interaction between diplomacy and public discourse?
Oh, that is extremely important. You see, like for instance, this G20, one of the most important thing that the Prime Minister and the government wanted was that whatever we were trying to do in the G20 must involve the whole country. And, we held, I think, some 200 meetings in different states, in different districts. We wanted the whole country to be involved in India's chairmanship of the G20 because, it is important to know your people, tell your people, educate your people what you are trying to do. How the diplomacy, how our foreign policy is important for them because there are so many ways that they interact with us, whether it is a question of getting a passport or getting to know educational opportunities, scholarships being offered by different countries, or whether what are the visa requirements for visiting various countries. And when you go abroad, how the Indian missions can assist you in your different work, whether you are just going for some service or whether you're going to on deputation for some industry or you're going to work for some government institution or something else. So it is important to keep in touch with our people, both here as well as abroad. And diplomacy cannot now be done in isolation because public opinion is extremely important, for achieving our diplomatic goals. We have to take our people along. We have to take our parliament along. We have to take our state governments along. We have to take everyone along to be successful in our work. Thank you.
Thank you. Suhab Chandra from Amity Mayur Vihar, New Delhi. Suhab?
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. My question for you today is, are there any hobbies or pastimes which you particularly enjoy that offers a rare glimpse into your life beyond the diplomatic arena?
Your hobbies, Ambassador?
Hobbies or pastimes that you particularly enjoy that offer a rare glimpse of your life beyond the diplomatic arena?
Well, I enjoyed playing golf. I enjoyed playing bridge, and these again offer you opportunities to interact with people of different countries. For instance, in Denmark, I used to take part in the golf competition at one of the local golf courses, and one interacted with so many people belonging to Denmark, similarly Italy and other countries. So, diplomacy postings abroad give you so many opportunities to interact with people of that country in different domains, government, private sector, industry, educational institutions, academic institutions, and others. It's a very, very enriching experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we're coming to the last question now. Pia Gujral from Amity International School, Gurgaon, Sector 43. Over to you, Pia.
My question to you is, when representing India abroad, how do you navigate through the cultural and ideological differences between the two countries?
I'll just repeat the question, Ambassador. When representing India abroad, how do you navigate through the cultural and ideological differences between the two countries?
Well, that's part of the regular work of diplomacy because when you are going abroad, then you roughly have an idea of what your national positions are on given issues. Through your study of different subjects, through your attachment to different parts of the Ministry of External Affairs, talking to people, reading of papers, reading of books, that sort of an idea you get. And when you go abroad and you interact with the people of that country, their foreign ministry or their other ministries of the government, their industry and so on, you get a sense of where they are. And, then you have to make up your mind as to how you can act as a bridge, but with them and your own country, with a view to promote your own interests, your own objectives, and how you explain your point of view, how you request them for certain things, how you promote visits of, let's say, delegations, the teams from industry, or the cultural exchanges, or the visits of businessmen, or so that is thing that's part of diplomacy all the time. Bridging the positions of your country and that of the host country where you are posted.
Thank you so much. I think we can give a chance to the audience who have been patiently attending this live. Amity International School, Gurgaon, 46 students. The audience, is there anybody who would like to ask one question? Or maybe the principals or the faculty members who are here, if they would like to ask any question, you can raise your hand. One opportunity we can give to students or any faculty member. Anybody? Gurgaon 46 students who are watching live. Any question?
Definitely they are going to ask questions.
Yes, ma'am. Amitians will never lose this opportunity, ma'am. Yes.
Who will ask?
Please ask.
Stand up and ask.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. I have, first of all, I am very inspired by the civil servants and the people who have joined Indian Foreign Services. And I've often heard people saying that those who go in the Indian Foreign Services, their life is stable, their life is very set after they join Indian Foreign Services. Is it so? Is it true?
Want a settled life, huh?
Settled life. Settled life.
Life is not set anywhere. I can tell you that. You have to work hard. You have to work your way up in any service, whether it is civil service or it is industry or it is business. These are all false notions, illusions, which some people talk. You have to work constantly. You have to work hard constantly all through your life. That is the ultimate truth.
Absolutely, and more so after retirement, I guess that's it.
If you want to excel.
Want to ask the question, no? Kriti Nigam from Amity Global School. She is working VIP coordinator. She want to ask a question.
Okay, sure. Kirti Nigam, ma'am. Yes, please ask your question.
To you, Your Excellency, I was just wondering, in the current changing political climate where there has been so many alignments and realignments, so how does ideological convergence shifting to economic convergence be at the moment for India in terms of inclusion of African Union in G20? I heard your interview with Sunset TV, so I was wondering what was your view on that?
We are getting into a world which is getting fragmented, which is getting divided, which is getting competitive, and which is getting very selfish, if I tell you honestly. And in this world, we have to constantly navigate to find opportunities. And there is not much place for ideological differences anymore. You are constantly pursuing your interest, whether it is United States or it is China or it is Russia or it is Gulf countries or Africa, whatever. Pursuit of your interest is the most common refrain all the time. So the old days are gone. We are no longer in that stable world. We are no longer in that world characterized by single superpower. We are in a world which is competitive, which is getting a lot of rivalry, a lot of divisions. China wants to become the number one power in the world, take the place of United States. China wants to displace United States from Asia. And United States is trying to strengthen its alliances. It wants to rival against, wants to deny important technologies to China, wants to ensure that China's economic progress is slowed down. Similarly, there are other issues, but for different countries. So we have to constantly find new opportunities, no place for old mindsets or old ideologies or old way of thinking.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Ambassador. Any principals who are present here would like to ask any question, or any other faculty members?
So I had a question that you raised a point about how this world is extremely unstable with a large amount of global superpowers fighting to get that one pedestal that I am the one global superpower. So what was one situation where diplomacy became the defining trait that drew the borderline between a war situation and peacetime?
For instance, this conflict between the United States and China. The US wants to retain its primacy, and China wants to get this global supremacy, gets this global number one position. So this tug of war which is going on between them, the interest of other countries and even their interest is to ensure that it does not lead to war, because war will be devastating in today's time. Countries have accumulated so much war-making machinery, equipment, bombs, different war equipment, that it will result in huge losses, not only to them but to others also. So the important objective of the diplomacy is to avoid war, to tell the other side that, look, United States wants to signal to the Chinese that, look, if you try to undertake a forcible occupation of Taiwan, for instance, you will not succeed. The losses that you will incur will be so high that don't consider the option of war. Now, of course, China's economy has started decline and China itself has a lot of problems. But these are the constant sort of challenges that we have to sort of deal with.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. What was your name? Please speak out your names.
My name is
Anubha Mathur from Amity 46.
Anubha,
And
very good. Very good question.
I would like to ask you, sir, one last question. Jyoti ma'am would allow us.
Yes, of course.
I would like the children to know that you've been in foreign services and you've traveled abroad across the world. So many countries you have seen. Do you think that Indian value system that you had, what your parents gave you and what you had imbibed, helped you to remain sane, balanced, and you were able to tackle the problems that came on your table?
Oh yes, I think our values are very, very important. Our our values that our parents teach, to sort of respect others and to be polite to others and to be considerate and to respect your family, to deal nicely with your colleagues, because an ambassador abroad, he's the captain of a ship, he's the captain of a pilot of an aircraft. There are big missions where hundreds of people. So, you have to take everyone along. The important thing in life is not only to work hard yourself, but to ensure that everybody else in your team also works hard and you are able to work together as a team. In the government and even in the private sector, I guess teamwork is very important. So, you have to take everyone along, and that is only possible if you have good values. You are considerate to others, you appreciate others' work, you are able to encourage them, motivate them, and ensure that everyone is doing one's best. So in this, I think the values that we get from our parents, and I understand that there's a lot of emphasis in Amity on the values. Which I learned from my wife as well, that Amity has a lot of emphasis on values, thanks to the chairperson.
Because of ma'am.
Yeah. So I think that is extremely important, and without good values, you can't go much far ahead. So you must retain your good values. You must be considerate, respectful, mindful of what you say, when you say, measured. All that is very important.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
sir.
much.
We have also the principal of Amity International School, Noida, Anita Paul, ma'am, raising a hand. Over to you, ma'am, for your question.
First, a warm welcome and a big gratitude from our school to His Excellency. The question that I wanted to ask was, there's a lot of diplomatic immunity being spoken about in the past few months when the Canadian issue also happened. Students would love to know how the diplomatic immunity helps when you are in a country which is going or is a part of a war zone. So that was my question.
Well, you see, diplomatic immunity is basically provided under the Vienna Conventions, which were negotiated in the 19th century. And the whole idea was that the host country where a diplomat is posted, that country should be asked or mandated or encouraged to not interfere in the work of the diplomat and to give him basic facilities to ensure that he is able to carry on his work. For instance, the premises of the diplomatic mission are representing the sovereign country, that particular sovereign country, and cannot be entered into or breached by the local host. The local country is expected to provide adequate security to the diplomats. Now, with Canada, our basic problem was that the Canadian government was faltering in providing adequate security to our diplomats in Canada, in Vancouver, in Toronto, in Ottawa. And there were threats being made, blackmails were being done against them, and they were being not allowed to work properly. So that became a big issue. And of course, the Canadian government was providing some sort of support also to the separatist group over there. And that is something, again, which is very objectionable. And India cannot stand that sort of a thing. We are very, very mindful to ensure that our security considerations are respected, whether it is Canada or it is UK or the United States. So that is something that we have to constantly work for.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We have one more hand raising, and this will be the last question. Amity International School, Saket, over to you.
Thank you.
There's some echo in the background. You can try once again, otherwise we'll have to end the session now. Rekha ma'am. Yes, Rekha ma'am, you can ask your question.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, perfectly fine now.
Am I audible, Jyoti ma'am?
Yes, Rekha ma'am, you can ask your question.
Thank you for recognizing, and we've had a wonderful session. Ma'am, we have a student, Priyansh Das. She's really keen to ask sir a very valid question, if you permit.
Of course, sure.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, over to Priyansh Das, class 8. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, Priyansh.
It is an honor interacting with you. So my doubt is, what would be the political, social, judicial, and economical effects for countries like North Korea opening up windows for diplomacy and the first country they approach to is India?
No, I think we will be very happy if North Korea were to adopt a more milder policies. It stops threatening South Korea and it stops this huge, massive militarization, its nuclear program. See, the problem with some of these countries is that they are not using good governance. There is a failure of governance in those countries. Those countries are always short of food because they are not doing proper, they are not following proper policies to encourage their people to grow food. There are a lot of sanctions being imposed on their activities. So we will certainly appreciate if North Korea were to adopt a more pacific approach, more milder approach. It is able to work in tandem with its neighbors and so on, and becomes less threatening to others.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
now
you,
it's been more than 2 hours. We've been talking and discussing and asking questions, and time to end. And as our chairperson, ma'am, said, that this work has been made possible due to lot of teamwork from Amity. So on behalf of our chairperson, I want to thank Amity International School Sector 46.
And clap, for them.
Yes, absolutely.
The principal and the team.
Principal Aarti Chopra ma'am and all the team, Manisha ma'am, Suvarna ma'am, Pooja ma'am, Vandana, Shweta, Kavita, Manisha, Devashit, Sujit, Yogesh, Shweta, and Sonam Rastogi ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful hosting of this program. And thank you to Ambassador Yogesh Gupta ji for coming to our Amity family and enlightening us. I'm sure we are going to meet again very soon. And most of all, I want to thank our respected chairperson, ma'am, who's always thinking of giving wonderful opportunities to our Amitians, ma'am. And as you can see today, the participation of our students, we have really enjoyed. It has been very enriching session for all of us. Thank you, ma'am, for giving us this wonderful platform.
Jyoti, number one, I want to appreciate you and the whole principal and all the children of Amity International School. Observing them, they were listening very patiently, I think. And योगेश जी कहते हैं आप देखेंगे कि दे विल बी many ambassadors from Amity and they will give their best for their country. No, do you agree with me, my dear children?
Yes,
Many
100%.
Many children, definitely they will be IAS, IFS, financial. They will be on the top. They'll be on the top of India.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm very thankful to Yogesh ji.
No, it's my pleasure.
But कहते हैं, it was very educative. No, it is beyond the classroom. The children, they must be having so many questions in their mind when they must be reading the newspaper, listening. So now today they must be aware what's happening in this world. So thank you so much. And we will call you again, Yogesh ji, to interact with our children.
Absolutely.
It has been a great pleasure for me as well to interact with you, ma'am, and your other teachers and students, wonderful students from different Amity schools. And I hope that this get together must have fired the imagination of many of you.
What's happening in India? No, they should know where we stand as an Indian, where we stand. They're so strongly कहते हैं, so I think so. They must be feeling proud of our India.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, ma'am, in the years to come, our students, Amity students, will be sitting on this hot seat and giving us an interactive session. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for your time and patience.
So it was 1.5 hours and Yogesh ji has given more than 2 hours.
More than 2 hours. Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a wonderful session.
Aarti Gupta, your husband is very intelligent and समझदार.
मैम आई एम ब्लेस्ड जो मैंने उनसे सीखा है 10 साल में एमिटी में उससे ज्यादा आपसे और फाउंडर से सीखा है सो आई फील ब्लेस्ड
नहीं good.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Can I leave now?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving us so much time. Chairperson ma'am has given so much of her time
तो
today.
चाय वगैरह पिला के भेजिएगा ऐसे में है ना spoken for 2 hours.
Yes, ma'am. Continuously. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. You may kindly leave. Thank you. And I forgot to thank Amity University for their help. They are coming here to set up the whole hybrid session. Thank you so much. It was of great help. Without Amity University, Noida, we couldn't have managed this. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ma'am, shall I close the session now?
Yes, please close the session. Thank you.